more trees.
Blog talk, this is the blog talk.
I lean El-Bey, dropping jewels every day.
Blog talk, this is the blog talk.
Metaphysical, we deal with the spiritual.
Blog talk, this is the blog talk.
I lean El-Bey, dropping jewels every day.
Blog talk, this is the blog talk.
Metaphysical, we deal with the spiritual. So you claim to be a god?
Damn right I'm a god. The maker, the owner, cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, god of the universe. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that.
So tune in or lose, friend. All strategies applied mathematically. The information he drop is real powerful. So get your notepad, it's more than an hour full. Watch your jaw, the crew which watch us talk. Indigenous to the land wherever we stand. First world order, we bringing it home in the first quarter. Invisible lines don't apply, we cross borders. Silly rabbit, knowledge for gods. No matter where you reside, lodge, temple, or mosque. So don't fret or proceed with hesitation. Just tune in to Blog Talk to get the information. Peace.
Hey, how are you, Washington East? This is your host for tonight, Professor Faheem Woodron L. Dr. Aleem is on the road, so I'm filling in tonight for him. And our topic tonight will be some more about nationality and birthright issue principles. Why you need a nationality and a birthright principle? Why you need nationality and why? And what will it be like if you don't have one or a nationality? Put it that way. First, I'm going to start off. I hope everything is well with you and yours, family. So I will try to do my best to present you the nationality and birthright principles issues the best way I can. As always, I always. The previous Blog Talk shows I have the show to myself, I always bring out a lot of information about nationality and birthright. I know I have said a lot of things that a lot of you heard before, but some of you haven't heard. This is for those who don't have a birthright or a nationality. You have a birthright, but a lot of us don't know it. But for a lot of us who don't have a nationality, a lot of those haven't filed out our nationality papers yet. This is what we're going to be about tonight, okay? So you just bear with me. And I'm going to read from this page here. It says here, a divine warning by the prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all one family, bearing one free national name. I'm going to read that again. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all one family, bearing one free national name. That means that, every one of us of Asiatic, of African descent, those of us in the Americas and abroad, should have a free national name. Now, some of us, we have what we think what you call English names, but some of them are not exactly English names. They have names that has been transformed or been translated from our ancestral language into the English language. Give you an example, such as Tunica, Viriachi, Tuna Augustine El-Bey. Okay, her name was, that's what her name was, the Tunica, but then translated in English as Turner. I mean, those of you who heard of Nat Turner, that read about him and everything in the history books, they could be related. I don't know. But when you hear somebody named Turner, or some of you that wants to get nationalized and you want to have a name correction, if your last name is Turner, you can just have your name just translated back to the original, to its originality, Tunica. Okay? Those who you will have named Washington, okay, take like Denzel Washington, Kerry Washington. I'm just speaking on the Hollywood movie actors and actresses, but they can turn, if they want to get nationalized, they can turn anyone whose last name is Washington. They can get their name translated back to the Algonquin Washita language, Washita. Because that's what Washington is. It's actually Washita. Washita is in its originality, origin of the name Washington. It is Washita. When I come on air, I say, how I tell Washita East, you know, we the ancient ones. So I just want to put that out there. There's certain names. They take another name. Say like Benjamin Banneker Bay or Benjamin Banneker. His name is Benjamin Banaka. That's in his Lenape nation name. But what I heard, he was a member of the Lenape. Those of you that maybe know better, well, you correct somebody on that then if I'm wrong. That means the nappy-headed ones. In English, it was translated in English as Benjamin Banneker. But his his name, his Aboriginal Indigenous name, appellation, is Benjamin Banaka. Emmanuel Muali Bey. That's what's his name. Let me just give you some clear examples here. You know, some of your names, last name is Benjamin. You can just put Benjamin. Benjamin means son of God or son of the right hand. That's what Benjamin means. Banaka, for Banneker. If your last name is Banneker, put Banaka there. Your names. You may not have to go through trying to find a free national name. You probably already have one already and don't even know it. You just got to revert it back to its originality. And the way it was spelled and the way it is found. Okay, let me go on. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables. I hope all of you got that. I'm going to repeat it again. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables. See what I say? Why our people need a nationality and a name correction? Why are you classed as undesirables? Because you're taking on names and you keep taking on names and keeping names of the families, or say your slave families, keeping them. You're still wearing them. You're still doing business and still selling, buying and selling in those names. As I said it before in previous blog talk shows, I said I don't know how many times, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 times. That's why you will never own anything. Whoever will have a Mercedes-Benz or a SUV, whatever, a Cutlass, I don't know, okay, you never own it. It will never be yours. Your home will never be yours. Not even your own children. Have you ever thought about that? Not even your own babies. Starting with that birth certificate. Okay, let me move along here. Those who fail to recognize again, I'm going to say it again. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names, abuses, mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. Yes, because, okay, explain it. I'm going to explain this. Yeah, because mistreatments, abuses. Because you still taking on names that don't belong to you. You can ask anybody, most of everybody knows. Some of them people say they're slave names, but they're not actually slave names. That do not belong to you. They are English names. Some of them, like I said before, like Turner, Washington, Banneker, Benjamin. You can revert those names back to where they're supposed to be spelled and where they're supposed to sound and what they mean. The names of your enemies or your slave family names and still call yourself free. It just doesn't work that way. You take if you see a Chinese or Korean person coming from any one of those countries and calling themselves Smith, Jones, and Johnson, you know something happened to them. And you wonder what happened to them. Something happened to them, didn't it? Why is his name is like that? If I come to a Chinese person and tell them my name is Wang Fei Hong, then they're going to look at me real strange. So I wonder what happened to him. He's not Chinese. And I may show him a birth certificate that my name is actually Wang Fei Hong. And they're going to know something terribly went wrong somewhere in history with my family. Terribly went wrong. Now you hear Asians, like they come here, some of them have, they keep their surnames. Some of them may be Jimmy Wong or Freddie Lee Hong. But you notice they still keep their surnames. They still keep their names of their ancient foremothers and forefathers. Why? Because they honor their ancient and foremothers and forefathers. They give honors to them. And most of our people don't. And this is why the prophet said in the divine warning to the nations that you are subject to abuses and mistreatments, because they see that you do not honor your ancient foremothers and forefathers. We do not honor our ancestors. They do. They honor their ancestors. Mexicans honor their ancestors. The Asians honor their ancestors. Even Europeans honor their ancestors. And then we wonder why we are the most mistreated and abused people on the planet. But this is why. Because you don't have a nationality. And this is the reason why those people that have one should get one. Especially now. Especially now. Because a lot of things are getting ready to kick off out here. This is the time. If there was ever a time to have your nationality and birthright principles in place, this is the time. To get your name corrected, this is the time. This is the time to do it. Why this is the time? Because have you ever noticed how funny the election has been going this election season? There has never been an election that I can record or recall being so jacked up as this one. Some people say President Obama may have to do another term. I don't know. I hear some people saying that they may cancel the election. I don't know. We have to wait out and see. But while Obama is in office, since he signed in 2008 or 2008 the Declaration of Human Rights at the United Nations, and he's the only president that done so. This is the time to get nationalized and correct your names. Okay. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to names and the principles that delude to slavery. Now, what did I just got through telling you? Because that's what you all are doing. You've got some our people in the Modern Science Temple of America Incorporated, top of their name is Jimmy Johnson, Bay, Reginald Owens, L, Alan James, Al, Barbara Perkins, Day, Jennifer Jones, Ali. Those are not free national names. You're going to get people talking about their name is Mustafa, Harris, L, Jimmy Johnson, Bay. Oh, no, I'll take that back. Mustafa Muhammad Johnson, Bay, Khalifa, L. Those are still not free national names. It is the surname that they're looking at, not the forename. They don't care if you put a Bay or a L behind it or not. Makiba Johnson El-Bey. That is not a free national name. There are a lot of people out there I know that disagreeing with me. They can disagree with me all they want to. Until the cows come home. I don't care. Okay? This is what it means, to names and principles that delude to slavery. You cannot carry these names, Smith, Johnson, Johnson, Eldridge, Hamilton. You cannot carry these names, these surnames, and expect it to be respected and honored by other people of other nations across the world, because it's not going to happen. As soon as you tell them that, they know right there what you own. They know right there you don't know who you are. It ain't that they're being racist, anything like that. They don't want you in their society and corrupt them. Hell no. Won't you marry their daughters? You out of your goddamn mind? And you ain't know who you are? How you gonna deal with them? Got to deal with who we are first. First things first. Okay. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to that state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens. It says here that they go back to the divine and national principle that they will be law abiders and go back to the state of mind. You have to be in the state of mind of your foremothers and forefathers. Sometimes it ain't all just about getting nationalized. You know, a lot of us get our nationality papers and we don't even study them. We don't even study what they even mean. You know, he proclaimed that he is an Aboriginal, indigenous, autochthonous community. Okay, what do that mean? What do Aboriginal mean? What do indigenous mean? What do autochthonous mean? What do those three words mean? And it's not really Aboriginal. Aboriginal actually comes from the word Aborigine. That's why sometimes you will hear me say instead of saying the African American community, instead of me saying the Black American community, you hear me say the Aborigine Indigenous American community. Or you may hear me use the words interchangeable. I may say the autochthonous American community. They all mean the same thing. The autochthonous means one who springs forth from the soil of the earth. That is an autochthonous person. Aborigine, the very first inhabitant, from the very first, meaning the very first original. Indigenous, natural to the land. A native that is natural to the land. All these are very well beautiful meanings of our people. That's who we are. That is a Moor. A Moor is an Aborigine, indigenous, autochthonous person. That is a Moor. All that is synonymous with Moor. Whereas some of them, even in some of our temples, what do the term Moor mean? But I just told you. So, you know, this is what, you know, what needs to be done. It needs to be studied, and to study ourselves, who we are. And learn to know that we have 4 constitutions. The Articles of Confederation, the Articles of Association, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution of the Constitution for Constitution of the United States for America, known as the Constitution of the United States of America, as it is presently known now. Okay, here we go. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. Okay, religion. Okay. We are all different religions, you know, but the religion we all know has been reduced to what we call a belief system or belief institutions. They all have been reduced to mind-controlled institutions. But nevertheless, we are to still claim our own religion. People ask about Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Well, they all come from the same source. If you really study, these are what you call the concepts of these religions, concepts of Islam, the concepts of Judaism, the concepts of Christianity, even the concepts of Buddhism, Confucianism, Shintoism, Taoism, isms. All these is your sciences. All these of your Moorish sciences. Freemasonry, that's Moorish science. Yoruba, that's Moorish science, what they call voodoo or vodou. That's Moorish science. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and nations of the earth, and that comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. Now, what did he just say? Which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world, meaning the government of the republic. Not, he ain't talking about this corporation that's acting like a government, that's pretending to be a government. Public government has been overthrown. Okay. And through it they and their children can receive their divine rights, unmolested by other citizens, that they can a free national ballot only if you are nationalized. The only way you can cast a free national ballot, sister and my sisters and brothers, is that you are nationalized, that you are a nationalized Moor, because we all are Moors. Those are some of you that did some studying, did a little studying talking about relate Moors as the Moors when they was in Spain or when they were in Europe. No, Moors were all over the world. There's no such thing as a certain group of black people, so-called black people, called Moors. There's no such thing. We all are Moors. I hear clowns on YouTube talking that crazy-ass mess. All so-called black people are not Moors. That's a damn lie. All of us are Moors. You want to tell me you haven't sprung forth from the soil of the earth? You're not connected to the earth land? Well, what the hell are you then? Can't tell me you black. That's a crayon. It doesn't connect you to anything, to nothing. Nothing. Color, you are black. There's no such people as black people. No such nation as the black nation. No such power as black power. No such power exists. No such people exist in any part of the human family. Those are all fictions. Those are all fictions. And it all falls under the artificial person category. Don't believe me? Check out the Black's Law Dictionary, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, and 7th editions. And it'll back me up. Artificial person, that means you don't exist. It means you're not real. Color of law in the Black Law dictionaries, given a semblance or something other than what is real. It tells you right there. So why you don't want to be called Moors? Well, you can say, I'm a Nubian. Okay, you're a Nubian Moor. Okay. I'm a Kenyan. Oh, you're a Kenyan Moor. Okay. Oh, you're a Mandinka. Okay, you're a Mandinka Moor. You're still a Moor. Those are status. That's a status. not an identity. White is a status, not an identity. There's no such thing as a group of white people in any part of the human family. No such thing as a group of red people, part of the human family. No such people as yellow people in any part of the human family. No such people as brown people in any part of the human family. They do not exist. And don't let them call you that. And anybody that calls themselves conscious and still want to call you black, look out for them. Prophet said you have to be careful because your own brothers will put you right back into slavery. Black is the term that the old European slave masters gave to us to disconnect us from our real heritage, to disconnect us where we really belong. I don't know. I cannot explain to you no better than this. Listen to one thing that Taj Tariq Bey said on YouTube one time. He said, you have those of our people that can't read, and you have those that can read but won't read. Huh. Okay. And though and through it they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot. So I'll explain that, okay? At the polls, under the free national constitution of the state's government and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. And what do you mean by that? You be voting under the 14th Amendment, which has never been properly ratified. You're voting civil rights. Civil rights is a privilege, not a right. There's some people that want to argue about affirmative action. Affirmative action has never been law. Every 25 years, whoever who's president in office at that time have to sign the Voting Rights Act or Voting Rights Bill, because that's what it is, a bill. They'd have to sign it, or else you cannot vote. Why you cannot vote? Because you're not under a free national government. You're not a free national being. Those are people with nationalities and birthright principles that has a right to vote. This is what he's talking about. Not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing conditions for many generations. You get people thinking they have the right to vote. No, you don't. Not under that status carrying. Calling yourselves black, people of color, African American. No, the hell you don't. Only if you have a nationality. Under a free national government, not under a corporation. Because this is what this is, a corporation. British-owned corporation of the British Crown of England. And their answers to the Vatican, the numbers, the red numbers on the back of your Social Security card, that means your blood. That means the Queen of England owns your ass. Believe it or not. All right, let me get along here. Get on with it here. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those who know the law. in this city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them on an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply, for they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. See what I'm saying? Into light. I'm talking about the Republic government, credit government, not the non-de jure government. I'm talking about the de jure government. Because like people like I, Dr. Arlene, El-Bey, Sister Gadira, Taj Tariq Bey, Brother Abdullah El Talib Mosi Bey, Sabir Bey, Brother Nature Divine El-Bey, Sister Yafa Bey, Brother Hakeem H.R.R. Bey, and just naming a few of us, we are the ones that are representing the national government. There are a whole lot of others, but I can't, but I can't name them off right offhand. All right. Money doesn't make the man. It is a free national standards and power that makes the man and the nation. Says the wealth of all national governments, gold, silver, and commerce belong to the citizens alone, and without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. That's true, which we don't today. People think that they win the lottery, they're getting a lot of money. They ain't getting nothing. Some with these high-paying jobs, and think they really, they really do think they really being successful. They really do. Most of them don't know that there is no money. There is no money. There's no money, and there's no true money in existence. It's not backed by gold or silver. Therefore, it makes it unconstitutional. If it is unconstitutional, then which is supreme law or the land, then that makes it unlawful. That makes it outside of the law. Therefore, that makes it an outlaw. Okay, so all right, that's what it means. Money doesn't make the man, and it really doesn't. Because your nationality go along with the gold and silver, copper, pearls and rubies, and other wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. What is a true citizen of the United States of America? You, me. All of us of Aborigine, Indigenous, Autochthonous, Asiatic birth. We are the true Americans. If you read the Northwestern Dictionary, 1828 edition, it will tell you that when the Europeans first landed on these shores, the first people they saw was the copper-colored people. Copper. Who described that most? Us or the Algonquin, or so-called Native American Indian? Some of them are dark, some of them are real dark, but that comes from amalgamating with us. But the majority of them, you look at them, they're nowhere near copper color. Okay? Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting a free national constitution of the United States of America. States of America. Free national constitution of the United States of America. Never America of the United States. Never that one. I love my people and desire their unity and mind back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. Well, stop right here. Well, they are, and we have been from generation to generations. Why? Because a lot of us don't know. That's why we having this blog talk show tonight. That's why you have people like me, Dr. Eileen, El-Bey, and Kadira. You know, people like us. People like Taj Tariq Bey and Abdullah El-Talib Mosi Bey. That's what, and others. Many others that's trying to get it out here. That's why you have our shows on YouTube. We have DVD tapes of everything was the way it's supposed to be. Well, you probably would have never heard any of us. You probably never heard of Dr. Ali. You never heard of me. And if you did, it was definitely by coincidence. But you've never heard it. We wouldn't even have these shows. Wouldn't be no need for them. Okay. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. But it's not. You tell them that you're a Christian or whatever, Buddhist or Muslim, whatever, they don't know it. They don't force you to claim anything of your own nationality. But we are not forced to, but other people are. We are not. Why? Because they want to keep us in bondage. Mental, economic, spiritually in bondage. That's where the religions come in at. They want to keep you as a slave to someone else's spirituality and not of your own. Okay. And all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national and descent name, if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Ain't that something? I'm going to read this again. And all of the governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Why? Because he's trying to be something that he's not. He's trying to tell them that he's something else other than what his ancient foremothers and forefathers was not. All right? And we go on here where I left off at here. Okay. I'm gonna read this paragraph over again. Okay? Because any group of people that fail to answer up to their hold on. Any group of people that fail to answer to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your nationality, descent, name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. That's right. Okay. The word Negro alludes in the Latin language and to the word nigger, and the same as the word colored alludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. Okay, let me stop right here. Now, after just reading this to you, why do a lot of us still call ourselves people of color? Or a person of color? Or I'm a woman of color or a man of color? There's no such people called people of color. Name me a country called a country of color. There's no such country. They want to be black. Well, what black language do you speak? Where's your black constitution? Do you have one? No. What is your religion? Black. Is it black religion? Okay, what country? Black Ladonia? Black Lanesia? Or color of Caledonia? No such countries. See what I'm trying to tell you? Okay, let me move along here. Okay, and every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth land. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. That's right. Never been recognized. Because you're not being yourself. You don't even recognize yourself, so how do you expect other people to recognize you? Am I right or wrong? Okay, it says here, through your free national name, you are known and recognized by said national government in which you live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in the unit, placing the Southerners who were at that time without power. And they sure wasn't without power. They were calling themselves sovereigns, but they never was really sovereigns because they weren't aboriginal or indigenous to this land. Matter of fact, they were worse off than the so-called slaves or Slavs. And by the way, when you say you have a slave name, no, it's not a slave name. Where Slav comes, you go Slavia, Slavs. That was the first term they gave to European slaves, because we enslaved them first before they turn it around and enslaved us. And that's another thing we have to learn, because history has been so twisted and so turned around. They want you to think that in history, in the history books and classes, that Europeans boxed us and put us in sardine-like ships and shipped us across the Atlantic to America. No, it was the opposite. you had some so-called Native American Indians enslaved us, you'd be able to enslave them first and shipped a lot of them and our own people across the Atlantic to Europe. A lot of people be shipped across the Atlantic to Europe. Slaves. It was the opposite. Not the other way around, like they want you to believe. Okay, I'm going to say this again here. Okay, the names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by said government, by said national government in which you live. So the 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners who were at that time without power with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free, and if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. A lot of you get that? With no need for them. Wouldn't be no need for them. I'm going to read something from you from the administrative functions of the Moorish Lodge, Moorish Temple of Science of the World. Bear with me for a moment. Something that you should know. A lot of us should know. I should tell you. Here it is. Here we go. All right. It says here, about the Constitution. When was the first meeting held for the Constitution for the United States of North America? Hear what I said? When was the first meeting held for the Constitution for the United States of America? But now it's called the United States, the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay. All right. It says here, the first meeting for the Constitution for the United States of America was held on May 25th, 1787. It was adopted over a year later on July 2nd, 1788, and went into effect on March 4th, 1789. The Constitution was ratified about 2 years after the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the United States and Morocco, which was ratified the 25th day of Shaban in the year 1200, the Moorish calendar, which corresponds to August of 1787 A.D., or in the year of domination. Okay? Why are there only 10? I'm going to say again. Why are there only 10 lawful amendments to the Constitution for the United States Republic of North America? I'm going to ask this question again. Why are there only 10 lawful amendments to the Constitution for the United States Republic of North America. Okay, here we go. There are only 10 organic amendments to the Constitution for the United States of North America. These 10 amendments are known as the Bill of Rights. That is the third article of the Constitution. Before that, it was, like I said, the Articles of Confederation, the Articles of Association, then the Bill of Rights, then the Constitution for the United States for America, then the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay, so let me move it on here. The Bill of Rights and were adopted to the year 1791 A.D. There has never been a constitutional convention called in the history of the United States since that time. What is this telling you? There's never been a constitutional convention since 1791 A.D. in the year of domination. So what it's saying here, it says here, therefore, any alleged amendments after the 10th, meaning the so-called 11th Amendment, and all others that have followed it, are not lawful. This again. I'm going to repeat this to you again. Therefore, any alleged amendments after the 10th, meaning the so-called 11th Amendment and all others that have followed it, are not lawful and are void ab initio and are no part of the Constitution for the United States of America. All of you get that? That means any of those amendments after the 10th Amendment are all bogus. They're frauds. They're fraudulent. They are unlawful. In reality, they are not part of the Constitution of the United States of America. It says here, in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship ratified in 1787, a part of the Constitution for the United States Republic of North America? Yes, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the United States of America and Morocco, 1787, is a part of the Constitution and is binding law. How is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship deemed as binding law under the Constitution for the United States Republic of North America? The question is asked. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship is binding law in all the states of the United States and is affirmed as follows. Article 6 of the Constitution for the United States of America, of North America states, all debts, contracted engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution should be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. But it's saying it means for the first article, but it means the Article of Confederation and Association and all of them, all the four constitutions, meaning they are no different. Okay? Let me go on. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authorship, under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. The senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of the several state legislatures and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. So why the hell were they questioning Obama's religion? What religion he was into? What religion he was into when he first held office? Evidently, somebody has been studying that Constitution. It says it right here. Just wanted to read this to you. Okay? Okay. Get back to the proper divine warning to the nations. Okay. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days of the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people. And this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from the enormous earthquakes, disease, etc. Get it? Okay, hope you did. And I, the prophet, do hereby believe that the administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and natural and divine ways of their forefathers and learn to stop serving the carnal customs and merely ideals of man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them, and it always has. Having my dear sisters and brothers, you know what I'm talking about, so I don't think I even have to explain that. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, without understanding that they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin, and there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc. That's some of the things I've been telling you when I first started this lecture tonight, isn't it? They will not recognize you on earth. Let me write that. Let me see this again here. Let me read this again. Okay. Read this part here. Divine ways, without understanding that they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin, and there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc. And they don't. You see a lot of our businessmen, they try to have business contracts with certain Asian business people, but get rejected right out. I tell them because, hey, we associate with our own. There's nothing bias or nothing hatred against our people or nothing like that. But they see you don't even recognize yourself. This is what the prophet was talking about. You will not link yourself back with the family of nations. Therefore, you don't want to link. In order to link yourself with link yourself back with the family of nations, you have to link back to yourself, back to your own people, and to recognize yourself and recognize who we are as a people and as a nation. Learn how to speak our own Aboriginal indigenous languages, different tribes, or different nations. I don't like to use tribes too much, but I like to use the word nation as referring to so-called tribes. Right now, I am currently learning how to speak the Algonquin language of the Washita, Dida Amur Nation Empire. Other Moor sisters and brothers learning how to speak their language in the Akitiwa language, or sometimes called Cherokee, the Nanaco language, the Lenape language, Chickasaw language, Choctaw language, Choctaw, which is the same as Washita. All others I can't name right offhand. I'll probably be all night trying to name them all, so I'm not going to try to do that. But this is what I'm talking about. This is what he's talking about. Okay. In their present condition of their endeavors, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world, and they will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fault the Southerners for all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the South and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people, continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. Now, this is what you're talking about. You're bringing dishonor, still carrying the other European families' names, dealing with their own religions or something like that. But there are religions originally, but they have been plagiarized religions that they have stolen from us. Because with people that call themselves Christians that are actually true Christians in that sense. Jews, Muslims. Because all of those religious concepts has came from one source, from our own ancient foremothers and forefathers. And from our ancient foremothers and forefathers, that is in the truest sense of what we call Islamism. What is Islamism? That old-time religion. Okay. All right. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness and to marvelous light. It is from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This is the end of this divine warning to the nations. we have here, says here, says, okay, I'll start right here. But the corporate United States remains greatly indebted to the Moors, and they do. That's what started off that the stock market crash in 1929 when Noble Drew Ali went to Panama. And cleaned the books with them. They owe us big time. But the problem is, we won't wake the hell up. We won't recognize who we are. So that's what keeps them in power and us in bondage. Okay, I'm going to read this here. Okay, let's see, start there. Better start. Okay. 60 years of post-slavery and emancipation of Moorish nationals have not yielded their just nationalization, civilization, reparations, nor self-education, but depleted it for the economical, political, and industrial religious befitting in the course of justice of the Moorish Americans, to best honor the benevolence of the government through a treaty of peace and friendship, rather than be a census tumor on the body of the state. Talking about the U.S. Bureau of Census. And the U.S. Bureau of Census, you are classified as Negro, colored, black, nowadays African American. No, neither of these are true statuses. Neither of these, all of these are fictitious status. They have no connection. There's no such country as Africa or America. Those are two continents of nationalities. You need paperwork. Those of you talking about you don't need paperwork. You need paperwork, sisters and brothers. You have to have nationality papers to rebut everything that has been done to you when you were born, because they did paperwork on you when you were born. Paperwork such as your birth certificate. They sent all that information to the United States Census Bureau, the Recorder of Records and Deeds, and the Bureau of Vital Statistics, and U.S. Vital Statistics, and to the Federal Reserve System. From then on, you was in debt to the national debt. You was obligated to the national debt, put it that way, which in itself is a fiction. No, it or not. Okay. I'm going to read this again. 15 years of post-slavery and emancipation of Moorish nationals have not yielded their just nationalization, civilization, reparations, nor self-education, but depleted it for the economical, political, industrial, religious benefiting the course of justice of the Moorish Americans to best honor the benevolence of that government through a treaty of peace and friendship, rather than be a census tumor on the body of that state. The colonies, corporations, towns, cities, homes, travelways, and means we have planted are our own, and our members shall enjoy the fruits of their labor in security and happiness, consistent with the observance of our laws. The glory of our people shall be exalted to the world as products of our ingenuity. We, as free nationals, have our leaders called together, the wise men of our people, consult among them with freedom and earth and opinion of them all, our magistrates are just, our ministers are wise. Families with land, wealth, and autonomy can smile upon the flourishing of our arts and gain strength from the science improved beneath the culture of our hands to be inherited by our sons and daughters. But our sons and daughters were never inherited if you will not get nationalized. Without any nationality or birthright, sisters and brothers, your children have no inheritance. They have no true inheritance. They will always, what you call their inheritance, always be controlled by someone else. Okay. The U.S. administrative government confounds the historical die of a slave, weakened people into illustrious black history. Black history. Okay. That severes us from the worthiness of our ancient forefathers and mothers, ostracize us from the family of nations and the human family, from whence we, the Moorish, or the co-founders, and they derived. Excuse me. I'm going to read that again. The U.S. administrative government confounds the historical die of a slave, weakened people into illustrious black history that severs us from the worthiness of our ancient forefathers and mothers, ostracizes us from the family of nations and the human family, from whence we, the Moorish people, are the founders, and they derived. Now, our apology, gratitude, and compensation is to be paid to those survivors of 400 years of slavery in America, the latter 225 years of which were under the American flag. I'm not talking about the Stars and Stripes now, okay? That is the flag of amity and commerce. People always want to call the Stars and Stripes, or what they call Old Glory, the American flag. That's not the true American flag. The true American flag is the cherry red flag, or the 5-pointed green star. You have some people talking about that's not our flag. The flag with the cherry red flag with the 5-pointed green star is not our flag. It is the Moroccan flag. Well, I'm here to tell you, for you sisters and brothers that talk that crazy mess, this is Morocco. This is the Moroccan Empire. That is the Moroccan flag of the Moroccan Empire, not the Moroccan Kingdom in Northwest Africa. Although they do have the same flag. But they're not talking about the Moroccan Kingdom. They're talking about the Moroccan Empire here, commonly known today as America, is our flag. Some of you citizen brothers need to do your homework. Okay. Our system of education is steeped in turmoil, nationalism, and surface degrees of character, of color, religion forced upon the slaves during the time of slavery, yielded in observance of a God that is nor our own, nor grace for the divine national freedom of we as a pure. Our system of religion and education are squared to perpetuate our true image and likeness through inheritance to our accomplishments and contributions to civilization prevalent to promote our generations. Therefore, we, the representatives of the clean and pure nation, including but not exclusively to all families and tribes of Beys and Ills, and assembly of the great of the great grand body under the protection, guidance, and salvation of the great God of our ancient forefathers and mothers, master of the day of judgment, for the resolution and the intent of our actions, do in our free national name publicly proclaim and declare that we are an anointed people and upright, and are free, upright, and autonomous. Excuse me. The Aboriginal Indigenous Americans, as a clean and pure nation, have neither debts to the United States, her allies, enemies, nor any nation, neither foreign nor domestic, to the North American continent. That's true. Okay, it says here, we owe no obligations, economically, socially, nor politically, for all are the evergreens planted atop our shallow grave, a perpetuated state of mental slavery here in the northwestern hemisphere. And indeed, our only atonement is to be the creator of the universe, both the ruler and the rich. For these reasons, the Aboriginal Indigenous Americans have been forgiven for everything done wrong prior to the advent, and our founding prophet, the illustrious noble Drew Ali, is hereby and henceforth a clean and pure nation. All right. This is what we all have to. This is what needs to be done if you're going to ever be treated as a people, a clean and pure and decent people of a clean and pure, decent nation. You want to be on par with everybody else, not beneath everybody else. But you cannot be on par with everybody else, or link yourself back with the family of nations if you keep on calling yourself black, Negro, colored, people of color, African American, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We got a lot of brothers still talking about they don't need papers. They don't need to file their nationality papers. Yes, the hell you do. But then you get some that call themselves Aboriginal, Indigenous, or Autochthonous, but nevertheless, they want to argue indigenous rights, but do not have a nationality. How the hell are you going to argue in the rights of indigenous people and you don't have a nationality? Come on, man. Come on, woman. What the hell are you thinking about? You want to argue indigenous rights, but you have no nationhood. Please think about that. Let me read something here. This is from Taj Tariq Bey's book, The U.S. Nigger Industry. Civil letter artifice, the corporate person, food for the vampires, the organic truth and origin of the Negro. Because without a free nationality or a free national name, this is what you're still considered as. You can call yourself black if you want to. Black is the English term of the Spanish term Negro. You're still calling yourself a Negro. I'm just saying that to see that you know that. All right? It says here, sanity of the social atmosphere, justice and a fair sense for peace of mind, and had been absent from the North Gate lands, northwest of Mexico, meaning North America, for a few centuries now, relentlessly and with fiendish dedication, the occupying Albion, European, oppressors from Europe have actuated, perfected, and institutionalized a religiously polished imposition of historical distortion and deception, legalized, not lawfully representation, lechery of birthrights, theology, organized color of law, government, and theft of labor are regularly practiced against humanity. Social engineering, negatives instituted for extortive outcomes are especially directed toward the Aboriginal and Indigenous peoples. Did he tell a lie or did he tell the truth? You got a lot of people, they want to deal with certain commercial, get off into certain commercial activities like the UCCs, UCC1 filings, non-UCCs, and the executive letters or the executive letters, but do not have a nationality. No. And think this is the way out, and it's not the way out. Those of you that think that nationality is not important. I heard one clown on YouTube say you don't need a nationality. These are the kind of clowns that still trying to reconnect them or call themselves, or so-called reconnecting themselves to Africa. But I'm here to tell you, if you do not have a direct lineage, if you don't have anybody, like say for instance, a great grandmother or something like that, the direct lineage to Africa, you don't have a lineage. I'm sorry. Now, as far as our descendants is concerned, yes, we have all of African descent. But if you don't have a direct blood lineage to Africa, they won't claim you. They tell you straight up. You from over there. Telling people that you are African American, what you are telling them that you are an African immigrant here in America. What you are telling them that you are not actually an American. That's why you never hear Europeans, so-called white people, never say we are European Americans. You would never hear them say that. Because they know right then and there they are telling the people and telling the world that they are not actually Americans. Some people say, I just call them, you call them Europeans. You can call them European Americans. Because they both relate to the same thing. They're both saying they're not Americans. Just like when you call yourself African American, you're saying you are not actually an American, which you actually are. Because you are aboriginally, indigenous, and indigenous to this land. This is our home here. Believe it or not. Okay, let me go to read on a little bit more here. Throughout the bustling cities, the modest towns, the busy streets, and within the common houses of the North Gate territories, the natural people go about their everyday lives and affairs with stigmatic caution, feeling, an air of normality. Yet, just how the surfaces of the mass tranquility, there is an entrenched flood of political and social corruption, seething with undeniable signs of there being no peace. And there hasn't been any real or constant peace for scores of generations, tarnished and benumbed to the redundancy of institutionalized oppression. The Aboriginal people have devised all self-induced distractions and artfully sportive preoccupations forced to counter social subjugation, pain. Such self-defense mechanisms are recognized as self-denial. The people sometimes appear to be stupefied by or adaptedly oblivious to the ills and stresses heaped upon them. At other times, those colonial and induced ills blot the peace of the neighborhoods with blaring sirens and other forms of torts and confusion. Contradictions to moral and ethical principles in many forms are key features of the false culture, which was groomed of alien arrogance, fraud, and institutionalized abuse of authority and power. These artificially created characteristics of contemporary North American culture, no doubt, are a source for many of the world's most ominous problems. If any public act or deed has any promise of good, the political fact remains almost for a surety that such acts will be done most niggardly, because it is time again, more bites, to re-examine history and some original word definitions to see how we digress to the unbalanced state of affairs. And this is what's been going on. Hell, we see it every day. Just ride through or walk down through our neighborhoods. All you see is decay, twisted neighborhoods, people with twisted minds. You know. But I'm telling you, this is a nationality is the way. And those who without a nationality, well, you will see when the day will come. And the day will come. That's a fact. That's guaranteed. And when it does come, you're gonna wish you lived on another planet. You doubt my word? Just wait and see. Okay. The traditionally accepted North America prize pilgrim story involving European landing on Plymouth Rock at Massachusetts in the year 1620 A.D. was a Trojan horse ploy. The pilgrims were and are really inquisitionists and crusaders, not honest seekers of freedom. They came to the North Gate to steal and to enslave. History and evidential truths confirm this as fact by their colorful governing practices and their barbarian treatments against all Asiatic, African, Aboriginals, Indigenous, autochthonous peoples. The cornerstone of the colonists' social, political doctrines are undeniably expressed in the Church Black Codes of 1724 A.D., as adopted by all the contemporary corporate states. How many of you know that the Black Codes of 17 A.D. are the ones that started calling our people black people? Yes. The term that a lot of us still use today, black American, black woman, black man, those were given to us by our slave masters. came from the Black Codes of 1724 A.D. A.D. in the year of domination. That's what they stamped us with. Do your research. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research for yourself. Okay. A slovenly practice and imposed culture of fakery, the deviant suppression of the natural peoples, liberties, acts of hiding or destroying ancient and high cultural or high cultured sciences, and the mob selective literary destruction customs slithered into the ancient North and South American continents, the Central Isthmus, and among the multiple islands which is the Americana. This came about under an ominous guise of peacemakers, as proposed by the deceiving Albion aliens, claiming with beguiling innocence to be seeking religious and political freedoms from their fellow European Inquisitionists. That is the lie that has been told through history. Okay, such were the infamously successful bait and switch proclamation, as are historically expounded upon and published by those same alien invaders and possessors of forked tongues, the resulting in current shadowy culture, blight as it has been hoisted upon civilization, humanity, and history, involved into a state of deviant oppression of the natural people and the erection of fiend law systems, forced slavery, and the displacing and biased social class theoretics. And when they say natural people, we're talking about indigenous people. That's what indigenous mean. Natural people to the land. Those are indigenous people. Okay? Okay, it says here, bastardized linguistics presented in law terminologies artificially took roots with the introduction of European crusader and inquisitionist-oriented slaveholders as imposed in government and teaching institutions. Their religiously propagated fraud law and abridged history systems are used and enforced to effectuate land thefts, birthright thefts, and colored claims of authority. They are now major political and social cornerstones of the Union States society. In the U.S., with successive and unlawful records, destruction and the usurpation of the lands and resources, the dissolution of pre-existing governments of the aboriginal and indigenous peoples, Moors, and the Americas was enforced. We now have, in these days, the gross and draconian condition and the traditional human rights violations which are now a common feature in the fabric of North American culture and throughout its corporate politics. This deviant, fraud-oriented, and debased culture has developed into a massive and broad-based industry which feeds upon human suffering. This sad industry is founded upon the maintained by illusory based legality, dogmatic religions, contortion, altered histories, the opening suppression of justice, and a denial of due process. Thus, the stage was set forth for the establishment and function of color of law, courts, color of authority, activities, color of office, politicians, and color of history, scholars and teachers, and a false learned presentment and matrix for a color of freedom. The activity manifest of corruption and den was the offspring of the conquering Albion patriarchy and is called the nigger industry, food for the lectureless vampires from Europe. What I just read there. See what happens to you when you call yourself black? See what happened to you when you call yourself a people of color? All that falls on the color of law courts, color of authority activities, color of office politicians, color of history, scholars and teachers, and false-hearted presentment and matrix of a color of freedom. That's what all that falls up under when you call yourself black. Light-skinned brown complexion. You have a light-skinned brown girlfriend. You have a light-skinned boyfriend. It all falls under that category I just mentioned. But a lot of you, I'm telling you right now, we're going to keep on hitting you with these nationality and birthright principles. Because it's still that a lot of people still seem to not to be getting it yet. Like I say, you still got a lot of people want to argue indigenous rights and have no nationhood. Okay, what are you indigenous of? What tribal nation are you indigenous to? You say you're Moor. Okay, you're Moor in the Americas, North America. Okay, but what in tribal nation of Moors, the Moors over the land that they live on? What part? What tribal nation? A lot of people say they don't want to deal with so-called tribes or nations, but just saying you are Moor in North America is not enough. One question was asked, name me a country that's called Moor land. Well, that would be easy for me to answer. Moor means land. Hell, take your pick. But the question still goes on. Okay, well, what nation do you belong to? What nation over a land in the Americas are you a part of? What language? What is your tribal or national language that you speak? What is your tribal or national flag, or your tribal or national constitution? This I may add. This is what I ask. And what I just said to you tonight, a lot of you need to think about that. Those of you that don't think you need a nationality. Those of you that call yourself Freemasons of the Prince Hall Masonic Fraternity and other Masonic fraternities. Free? I'm here to tell you, you're not Freemasons. You can't be. Not if you carrying the names of other families. Hell, they own your Masonic membership. Do you know that? Your own Masonic membership don't really belong to you. It belongs to that European or European family name that you're carrying. Well, it's almost time to end this lecture here on the Blog Talk Show. You have any questions, call 910-364-9099 or call 314-644-4425. As I say to you again, Mawasama Dakunda, that means in Algonquin, a Washita language, peace, family. Peace to you all. Love you all. I'm out. Hey, Ha'ate Washita East.